Hey guys, back again. So, the last video was about friends. I just want to follow up with that. So, I always like to go back to what started the friendships in the first place, right? Always remember that you fell in love with the person's spirit, right? And their whole being and their soul. So, nothing is greater than the spirit of love, right? Because God gave you the spirit to unify. you know, to be in oneness, to where you guys are not clashing and fighting. You know what I mean? You might have elders that passed away, and that person might have loved ones that passed away as well. Well, just think of it like this: your loved ones are one with the Creator now, right? One means one. It doesn't mean side by side. It doesn't mean like harmony. It means something stronger than harmony because yeah, you can be in one accord. You can be like in a symphony, like every instrument is different. But nah, bro, it's like one sound, right? It's one sound. It's not many sounds that are being playing melodical and harmony together. It's one because you and God are one once you leave this earth. We as believers believe that. So you have to learn how to be that here. You know what I mean? And I feel like I would rather have friends than enemies anyway because you never know. Like you can be there for that person and help them in the same way, vice versa. But if you're fighting each other, which our ancestors don't want and God don't want that, then it's just the adversary that's trying to trick your mind and the person's mind. Now, I picked this picture to put up here because we have to remember that in a lot of ways we study from history in the past. This is a picture of ISIS. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys how I came across this picture. I was in a bookstore one day, I was bored, I was on my lunch, and I sat down and I look over to my side and I see this book. Okay. I was in a by the comic books, and then right by the comic books is Japanese manga, which are like Japanese comics for the people that don't know. And I picked up a manga and I don't really know how to say the name. I think it's Ened, which means nine in the Medu Neter or Egyptian language. And I opened it because, like, first off, the cover was cool to me because I've studied Egyptology before. But that's besides the point. I opened it, beautiful artwork, and it took me back to like my roots of what I was learning about knowledge itself and why I even wanted to do videos and to do deep research in the first place. So I've learned from a lot of like elders, a lot of old scholars, and the things that I know every day, it's just like, reminding me like, yeah, bro, like this period is known as the age of antiquity for a lot of people, or the golden age, or when we were at our highest, because yeah, like religion taught us that yeah, Egyptians were the people that enslaved and all that. But all of that stuff is written by men, but there was a time period where even Joseph, what it said in the Bible, that he was actually given rulership in Egypt because the Pharaoh loved him so much that he ended up giving him that. Okay. So remembering that these people at this time, their consciousness is so high. Their consciousness, like our math system, um, architecture, everything. Like they were in tune with spirit. They knew about spirit and the creator and God. They knew about these things, right? This is way before, this has been around way before the Bible was even written. So these people were not doing a lot of the stuff that we're doing now, right? They're more concerned about surviving, right? Agriculture, architecture, building, creating, right? Because one of the first colleges come from Egypt, right? We even know about famous Alexandria, right? It's a college where they had all the biblical scriptures there. They had many other texts, and then it got burnt down. It got burnt down, right? Excuse me. So we got to remember that when we argue with each other and how we act like this lower self, right? That is taking us away from the God self, or these people that were really close to God. All right, we talk about our ancestors or whatever, because a lot of these people, yes, it's true. Yes, they went to war. Yeah, they did many wicked stuff, right? Which is Sodom and Gomorrah, right? It also Sodom and Gomorrah is also a reflection of Egypt, because in the Bible it talks about how we know that we know what Sodom and Gomorrah is known for in the biblical expression of it, right? It's a place where they are really involved with a lot of how should I say, lustfulness and things like that. But we can't forget that a lot of those people there, they actually had families and they actually had hearts, and those were actually real people. Okay. Now, Israel, which is supposed to be God's chosen nation, according to what the scriptures say, right? Because look, what inspired me to do this video is because my grandmother sent me a video about the chosen ones. Okay. Now, I can understand the concept of when I say God chosen you, you're favored, right? But yes, but really all of us are, right? The Bible explains that many are called, but few are chosen. But really, it's no mistake why you're here. And he puts you here for a purpose. That's everybody. Everybody, don't matter what you're here for. So I once heard a wise man say that time is love. Because he said, first they asked him, how do you spell love? And then he said time, because whatever you love, you give time to, which is very true, right? So going back to friends, right? Or anything you're living for and what you're doing, like what I'm doing now, I'm passionate about this. So I'm helping people. I'm expressing the things that I love. I want you to have the things that I love because it inspires me to get up in the morning, right? History, God, first, that's the number one, right? Is God, because I couldn't get up without God, right? But remembering like the essence, you know what I mean, of the truth of the reason why we got up in the first place, right? So like I was saying, a lot of this stuff that we do is supposed to be inspired by positivity. Because again, the enemy wants you to forget. The enemy wants you to get deeper into your anger and your agony, right? Everything that is anti-Christ. And Christ was the embodiment of Elohim, which some people refer to as Allah, or whether it be El, which means God, or whether it be Ra, which is what the Egyptians call God. And even the Bible talks about the all in all, right? Now, this is Isis, which is really, um, it can be looked at as a figure as the Virgin Mary, right? Because she too was a mother of Horus, which was the chosen one, right? And Just like the video that my grandma showed me of a man saying why you're chosen and how a lot of people will hate you, right? This is what Jesus said, right? So remember that a lot of these stories, even though the Bible, Quran, comes from different nations, right? The New Testament came from a different nation other than the Old Testament, because we know that the New Testament was first written in Greek. Okay. I know what a lot of you Bible people are going to say, but really the history is history and the language is the language, and it is what it is. Okay. But this is my opinion. But again, I'm not sure God, right? I'm not sure God. So I'm just saying what I've discovered. Okay. Um, Even though these different stories come from different places, you'll find, because I heard a guy say this, you'll find that the pattern doesn't change, and he's absolutely right about that. I heard an elder say this before, because a lot of these stories are written by different tribes and different people and different nations, but it's the same pattern over and over again. You have a hero, right? A good guy who kind of gets overlooked, right? People don't have any interest in him, like Jesus, right? He has no form of comeliness that people will desire him. It says this in Isaiah 53. It's given a expression of our Lord, right? Because he is not trying to attract people by lust and fashion and things like this, by good looks and all these things. So he put himself in the lowest estate and made himself low just to lift us up, that people that were prisoners of that low estate. You get what I'm saying? So going back to what I was saying about time, because whoever you love, you give time to. Okay. When you are in this world, right? Because we're on limited time, right? And based off of that, us being flawed humans, we kind of don't have that unlimited love, which is unconditional love. The only one that has the unconditional love is God Himself, because He's in a place called eternity. This is why here a lot of people's love can change depending on their conditions, right? So, time being love, it's important that you don't spend your time or you don't spend your love and waste it, right? Because God said this to Adam. He said, He blew His love, He blew His breath, He blew Himself into Adam. This is how we're moving around. This is how what we're doing. And it's fascinating to me because I think upon myself, like whenever we fall out for each other and we say we're nasty to each other and we say a lot of hurtful things, how such a life-giving breath can speak so much death and vanity when we get angry. You get what I'm saying? And that's why we have to remember that we are wasting God's time. And it's like vain. It's like sin if I cuss you out, or if I say something like, if I'm not blessing you, if I'm not, because it says that it's power in the tongue in the Bible. It talks about this. And if I love you, you can give somebody a compliment. Man, something about you is just like the sunlight. It just makes me feel so good when I'm around you. You have a beautiful spirit. You have a lovely spirit. Somebody say, oh man, you know what? I didn't even feel like coming to work today. But dude, like, man, you telling me that, man, you made my day because I was just dealing with this. You know what I mean? And we all here to trying to lift each other up, because the adversary in life is already hard, because the adversary is always throwing stones at you, just like the spirit of the devil was working through the children of Israel, because they didn't understand, because they were so trapped in the law. They were so trapped in the text. It's like this image right here, right? This image, it was supposed to be a remembrance of who we are, right? But it's vanity if I look at this and I just gaze upon it and I'm just staring at it, right? Because now I'm in a hex. I'm being mesmerized by the beauty of this, when really it's not meant to be worshipped. It's meant to bring a remembrance to you, right? So that you can say, oh yeah, I remember this. And yeah, you're right, man. You know what? I kind of forgot where we came from. You know what I mean? And I have to carry this torch, because when I see this, this tells me prosperity. Okay. Then this brings me back to what Jesus said. You see what I'm saying? Then it's like, okay, how do we preserve this self, ourselves? How do we save ourselves from this wicked world so we can stay prosperous? Right? Then this takes me back to God and saying, look, the thing that helps people strive and thrive together and survive and to continue on and to endure the hardships here is unity, oneness. Okay? Oneness, what's the only thing that's going to keep us together as one is love, which is who Jesus is, the perfect manifestation of, because he's God in the flesh. He's literally Adam, the perfect Adam, because Adam is man, and it calls Jesus the second Adam in the Bible. You get what I'm saying? So it's important for us to remember that we have to eat, breathe, and sleep Jesus. We have to eat, breathe, and sleep Yeshua. We have to eat, breathe, and sleep Elohim, right? Or whether you believe that to be Allah or Ra or whoever you say, it means nothing if you are not really doing it and you're just staring at it. Because a lot of those people in Israel, those Jews that killed their own brother, which is Jesus, they kept talking about it. They kept doing the rituals. Egypt had a lot of rituals too. They kept doing the rituals, but they were not really eat, breathing, and sleeping it. This is why Jesus said at the Last Supper, when he was with his friends and his family, right? Hey guys, take this bread. He broke the bread. He said, this is my body. This is a symbol that now that you're eating something that's symbolic to my body, this is the body of Christ. Now, since you guys digest me, we are one, because you consumed me to where you're becoming me, right? Then he had them drink the blood, because there's life in the blood. What is a body without spirit, right? When he poured the wine, right, the red wine, which we know we get grapes from, which can also turn into vinegar, right? These things, like the wine, was the New Testament. The New Testament is, see, testament means will, right? You know how you give somebody a will to inherit things, right? He's saying everything that's mine, whatever the Father has, he gave to me. And I love you so much, I'm giving it to you. Imagine that, right? Imagine you had a friend that their loved one passed away and all the things, because you know, like your parents, they love you so much that they gonna give you, if you're the only child, which Jesus was the only begotten son of God, he gave everything to Adam, right? It's okay. How should I explain this? This is an allegory and an example of man. Okay, Adam is a different version of Jesus. Jesus is a different version of Adam. Lucifer is a different version of man, right? Adam was a man, okay? David is a different version of Adam, right? It's another version of a man, right? Whether that be, I don't know, whoever, Joseph, it's a man, okay? The woman, Eve, can be like, she also is part of Adam, but but the thing about it is, she is like an offspring of Adam. You get what I'm saying? She was meant to be his counterpart. This is the thing that religious people have to understand. The woman right next to God giving his breath and bringing Adam to life, the second greatest thing to our life, like man's life and breath, yes, God is number one, right? Then it's the life that he gave us. But next to that, after he gave him that breath, man, he gave him his woman, right? I believe that the world is messed up when we are disrespectful to our woman. And this is really why this is like a big part of the reason why, not the only reason, but this is a big part of the reason why the world is jacked up like it is. Because when you look at the father, or when you look at a household, either it's a household without the father, or the father is there, but then the mother is gone, right? And God doesn't make mistakes. He put these two counterparts together for the child in the middle, which is a manifestation of both, the unity of both, because your children, they are a reminder and a manifestation of the love that you have for your counterpart that God gave you. Your Isis, your Mary, right? Your the perfect woman is Mary, right? Because she was a virgin and she didn't have any type of intercourse or relations with a man. She got the spirit through God. But have you ever loved somebody? Okay, before I get into that, so when you're friends with somebody, right, you have to it's kind of like a marriage without engaging, if you know what I'm trying to say, right? Imagine having a wife or a husband that you love so much and you keep it respectful. You never touch each other, but you highly love each other, that you guys are like this in spirit. You have each other in spirit so much that you don't even have to really have them physically. Okay, this is like the best example of a friendship, because if you look at Jesus and all of his friends, they were spiritually one, an unbreakable marriage that will never be divorced. And what he was doing was, this Last Supper was like a ceremony, a marriage ceremony. Like, look, now me and your souls were going to be one, and you're going to be a part of me because I'm part of the Father. So what is he saying? We're going to be one with God, right? Your true friends are people who are willing, the same way you're willing to do that for God. They have to be willing to give the almost high praise first, because if they don't have respect for the Creator, they cannot love you, and they will not love you, and they cannot have any respect for themselves or love themselves. Okay, so remember that. Okay, because the adversary is working hard out here to try to get people to destroy themselves, because he thinks that he has power of death and put that over. But Jesus conquered death for us by running up to it, facing it, right? Taking the cross, nails in his hands, embracing it to overcome and overthrow it. Because the flesh is weak, but the soul is willing. Always remember that. So I would say, as a reminder, guys, just like, remember, no matter what story it is, there's always that one person that was alone, that was a good person in their heart, and they kept going and they kept loving, right? Loving is that power that's going to help us survive. You know, the pattern never changes. All of these stories are the same. It's talking about the one person that had all odds against them and they overcame. And if the hero died, they died in honor because they never stopped loving. So I love you guys. And the next video, who knows? I don't know. But it's going to be something about Jesus Christ or God, or, you know, I'm trying to make this channel to where I don't like when people are divided. You know what I mean? So I know I don't want to confuse people to think like, oh, he says he's Christian, but then he's showing a lot of these things that's from, because what I care about the most is helping people, and I don't want a reason for people to try to, I don't know, like they fight over everything, you know. Oh, that's not the truth, or this is not the truth, or only my God is this. Man, look, hey, we all getting attacked. We all came in one way, and we going out the same way, and that's guaranteed. So everybody can agree with love, man. And so if there's a common ground, then I'm all for it, man. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next time.